welcome here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We appreciate you being here inside the Great Lakes Honda City studios. Great Lakes Honda City coming to you on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. You could find them for sales and service by going to greatlakeshondacity.com. And of course, you could go and visit them at 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. So make sure you do that today. We appreciate your patience. Off the air, MT and I were talking about some carrot cake. We were having some fun with that. So happy to have you here on the broadcast. Happy to be with you and happy to celebrate family. You know, family, there's the family that you're born into, right? The family that's your blood. And there's the family that chooses to show up. And I would say that, you know, life is a healthy mix of both. Because some of the best family you're going to find isn't your blood, and some of those people that are within your blood family truly are a special connection and a special piece. So what I can say when it comes to my family is that I'm blessed to have the ones that I have, and I'm blessed to have the MTs that have come into the family. I'm blessed to have the Papa Joes that were a part of our lineage here. So family is precious, and make sure that you spend time with your family today. Go and see them if you can. If you can't physically see them, call them. If you can't call them, text them. But make sure you do that today. With that being said, up and down the East Coast, the Midwest, the West Coast, and all around the globe, you're hanging out with us on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of these Great Lakes Honda City studios. We're on YouTube.com and Facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT. And we're on wakeupcalldt.podbean.com. So however you're connected with the show, thanks for hanging out here with us. And as we are getting set to bring him in, Papa Joe's going to be with me inside of MonPazPopcorn.com's What's Poppin'. PJ is going to be here with us to discuss what's going on in the world of baseball. We'll talk about the World Baseball Classic. We will also get into Major League Baseball Spring Training, and PJ wants to talk basketball, which you know I'm all about that as a former basketball player. I don't even want to say former basketball player because I got back into it, but formerly I played in high school and played before that and got recruited D3 to Marywood University, but now I have the opportunity to continue to play because of places like Game Point Sports Complex. So thanks to Game Point for all that they do, and thank you to all of you for, you know, being so amazing and going out to Game Point. So PJ's going to be joining us. We'll talk a little basketball, some baseball, and then in hour number 2 at 10:15 a.m. Eastern time, I will be joined by Mr. Pete Moore, longtime athletic trainer and motivational speaker. He just went to the NFL Combine to see our guy Mike Washington Jr. Now, Pete Moore sat in my studio right next to me here. Mike Washington Jr. sat in my studio right next to me here. Then they both were at the NFL Combine, and no big deal, Mike Washington Jr. of Central New York, of CNS, originally from Utica, New York, ran a 4.33 in the 40-yard dash, the fastest running back in the entire NFL Combine for 2026, tied for the 6th best time ever for a running back in NFL Combine history. And he joins a party with former SEC running backs with guys like Bo Jackson and Herschel Walker. Well, Pete Moore is on the show today to talk about his experience from the Combine, working and training Mike Washington Jr., and, of course, to talk about his faith in God and so much more. A lot of great stuff coming up. He didn't know it till he heard it right now, and I know he's excited about it because I can hear him in the background. PJ, to have a Central New Yorker, to have my guy, Mike Washington Jr., who I have known for many, many years, go out there and showcase Central New York, upstate New York, and run the fastest 40 for any running back in the Combine this year, and to have the 6th fastest time ever in the history of the Combine for running backs heading into the NFL.
That's super. That's super. I'm glad you're affiliated with something like that. I mean, the kid's obviously got a lot of talent. So we'll see. Where do you think? Is he going to be a late round pick? You think?
I hope they take him early. I hope they give him an opportunity. Now, keep in mind that the SEC had 4 running backs in all of the SEC schools. Of the 16 schools that they had it was 4 or 5 running backs that hit 1,000 yards this season. but only one of those running backs in the SEC, in the greatest conference currently in college football, there's only one of those running backs that hit 1,000 yards with under 200 carries. Mike Washington Jr., and he did it with Arkansas. So he made history. He's been making history. He's done a fantastic job throughout his career. He's only gotten better, only gotten bigger, only gotten stronger, only gotten faster. And for a guy that's 220 or more pounds to run a 4.33, just absolutely incredible. Shot his draft stock up, and I'll tell you this. When I talk to Pete Moore talks about God first. When I talk to Mike Washington Jr., Mike Washington Jr. talks about God first. And God definitely shined a light on two awesome people. And he continues to do that. Yeah.
That's cool. Well, good luck the rest of it. What about his jump and broad jump or whatever the hell else they do? This shuttle stuff.
Yeah. Mike Washington. Yeah, by the numbers. And by the way, too, as you know, as we bring that to you, there's another guy that went to the combine, my good buddy, a good friend of mine. I said he'll be my vice president if I ever run someday. My guy, that being Enrique Cruz Jr. of offensive linemen. I'm going to tell you this about him, PJ, as we keep this going. Now, Enrique Cruz, as an offensive lineman, this is what he did at the combine. This is another guy that I've known forever and known his family. In the vertical jump, he was second amongst every offensive lineman at the combine. In his broad jump, he was second amongst every offensive lineman at the combine. In the 40-yard dash as an offensive lineman, he ran under a 5 at 4.94, and he was seventh amongst all offensive linemen, and his athleticism score was fourth amongst offensive tackles. So I got another guy who was in the top 7 in every single category, and one of only 40 to 50 offensive linemen invited to the combine. So I got two guys that are ready and raring to go for the NFL. And I'll tell you this right now, PJ, I have never had this honor in my life before. Enrique was on my show just a few weeks ago getting ready for the combine. You know what he told me? He said to me, he said, my family is going to all be together in Chicago at the house waiting for me to get drafted. He said, I want you in that room with me. He invited me to Chicago to be with him and his family, to be in the room the moment he gets the phone call to get drafted.
Wow. Who's paying for the ticket?
Hey, I got miles. I got some miles. But
that's true, you do.
I got some miles getting out to Chicago. It's been a minute since I've been out in Chi-Town, but might have to get myself, well, I'm definitely going to have to go back there to see my guy Kiko. But yeah, so I'm looking at his score here, the athleticism score going back to Mike Washington. The 40-yard dash, he ran a 4.33, 10-yard split, 1.51 seconds. Vertical jump was 39 inches. Broad jump was 10 feet, 8 inches. So he had himself a day. He's risen up the draft stock for himself. I think they both have. And
very good.
I'm looking forward to what my two guys are going to do. It's one thing to watch the combine and just be happy for people in general. It's another thing to watch the combine and know some people there and to see these really good human beings do so well. So we'll be praying for them. I know you and Mary will as well.
Of course. Thank you. Actually, you mentioned something, basketball.
Yeah.
Now, don't break my chops. I do watch college basketball occasionally. Yeah. However, when things get going and things get gearing up and the tourneys start, I get more interested. And of course, this year, I'm very interested because my Gators are probably going to be. I wouldn't be surprised if they're a first seed with the way they're going.
Yeah.
No one wants to play the Gators. They're absolutely monsters on the glass. They're 6'11", 6'10", and 6'10" across the front line. And they sweep everything, including the floor. So I'm looking at some of these other teams, Arizona, Michigan, UConn. They're all very good teams too, but I don't think they're going to come up against anything that Florida can put up. Florida has to go through the SEC tourney like the rest of the schools. Yeah. I don't think that's going to be a problem. Sometimes they'll tank a game just to lose so they can rest before the tourney, but I don't think they're going to lose. They had a tough schedule early, and they played a lot of non-conference teams that were ranked in the top 5 at the beginning of the year, and they lost those games, especially Duke, Arizona, someone else too. But anyway, it made them tough for the SEC going forward, and they've swept through the SEC. I think they're 14-1 at home, 7-2 on the way, and it's something 1-1 on the neutral court or something like that. I'm very interested. I watch them all the time when they're on.
Yeah.
And of course, I'm into the Gator Network, so I get all the information. I'm very pleased that they're as good as they are this year because, frankly, after last year's team that was so good, I just couldn't think they could duplicate that. But what Todd Golden did is he took the 3 big guys and he sat them down. And he said, "Listen, we got a shot to do this again, but I need all of you. I'm not going to stand in your way. If you want to go to pro, go to pro. I'm telling you, this is what I feel." And it was true. Yeah. They took a while to get going, but boy, when they get going, they just blasted through everything. They just embarrassed Texas last week, and they absolutely clobbered Arkansas by 30-something points.
Yeah.
Their front court is just dominant, and if the other team doesn't have maybe one shot on goal, that's about all they're going to get with those guys. They have a very good team. The guard play is good, not great like last year, because all 3 players from the backcourt last year made the pros. This year, I'm not sure what the kids are going to do, if they're going to come back again or play again. But it's exciting to watch. And, of course, once they're in the tourney, I'll be watching those games along with the rest of the teams.
Yeah, and to take a look at Florida and what Florida has accomplished, what they've done, let's break it down. They're first, and they're going to stay first in the SEC because the conferences are wrapping up regular season play. Nobody's going to catch them as the number 1 overall seed of the SEC tournament. The men's basketball team is 15-2, the closest team to them. The Alabama Crimson Tide at 12-5, Arkansas 12-5, Tennessee 11-6, Missouri 10-7, and Vanderbilt 10-7, along with Texas A&M and Kentucky for the Wildcats. So Florida is the number 1 seed. PJ told you, 14-1 at home, 7-2 on the road. They have a 10-game winning streak they're riding right now, and they are 24-6 overall. They're ranked as one of the top 5 teams in the nation, trying to repeat from last year's national championship. They started off the season with a game against Arizona. They could both end up being number 1 seeds in the NCAA tournament. They lost to Arizona, who was 13 at the time, by 2 possessions, 93-87. They played a couple of games inside of the SEC ACC play. They beat Florida State. They beat Miami, who is off to their best start ever for a first-year head coach in Jay Lucas. Shout out to him. He's been on the show a bunch. And then we look at the fact that they do have losses to TCU. They lost at Duke, and they lost to UConn. So kind of interesting here that when you look at outside of the TCU loss and the losses to Missouri and Auburn, they've lost to who might else be the number 1 seeds. So Florida may have a chance for some avenging this, because if Duke, UConn, Arizona are all number 1 seeds, they've lost to those 3 teams. And so we'll see how it shakes out. If they win the SEC tournament, I imagine they're going to be a number 1 seed, but if they have to face these other number 1 seeds, they won't have to face them until they get to the Final Four and or the championship game. But the Florida Go Gators are 24-6, and they're back on top of it. Keep in mind, the Florida Gators back in the day did win back-to-back titles, and that was with Billy Donovan, who I had the opportunity of interviewing when he coached for the Florida Gators up against UCF in a game that was at the Orlando Magic's home, now the Kia Center. So there was a time where Florida did repeat, and they're trying to do it again.
That's true. Now, the teams that you mentioned that they lost to, rest assured, this is not the same team that they will be playing possibly in the tournament. Florida's gotten a lot better. And frankly, I heard a coach, I think it was Arkansas. Yeah. He says, I don't think any team in the country wants to play Florida the way they're playing right now with their tall front court. Yeah. You can only get 1 shot or 2 shots out of them. They're tough inside. They crash. So the teams that they played and lost to don't want to play them again. I can tell you that.
Yeah, and we'll see what it looks like, because they're going to have to play a team or two as they move forward here in their conference tournament, as the Florida Go Gators will be the number 1 seed of the SEC, making that known once again. The Gators are looking to have another deep plunge into the NCAA tournament, into March Madness, in hopes that they can take over once again and win this thing. Probably one of the strangest finishes in the history of the NCAA tournament for a men's basketball national championship game was the fact that Houston did not get a shot off in the final 7 or 8 seconds of that game against the Florida Go Gators. So we shall see what'll happen. PJ, not me, brought up basketball today. How about that? PJ, before we step aside for a fast break, I know that you're excited about the UConn Huskies women's basketball team and Gino Auriemma, so I want to give you an opportunity to continue talking about baseball or basketball.
Daniel, I have been following UConn women's basketball for over 20 years, mainly because of Auriemma. He's got such an electric personality. So I got into him a lot. I read a lot about him. I read what his focus is in basketball, and he talks these girls into coming to UConn because they have the flags everywhere. If you walk into that center, you look around everywhere, and there's a million flags with that they've won the championship. Yeah. And of course, some of the analysts have already played for Gino years ago. And he manages to pull these kids out of everywhere to come to play to UConn. I think it's extremely exciting, but they certainly aren't giving anyone a chance to win. I mean, they're in the Big East tournament. I mean, it's going to be a nothing. It's going to be an exhibition deal. They just blow by everyone. They got the player of the year, in my opinion, Sarah Strong this year. Last year's freshman of the year, and she's doing well, but she's got such a good complement of players around her that she doesn't need to do 20 and 10 every day. But she's almost close to it, but she's an amazing basketball player. She has a vision like Rebecca Lobo did when she was playing. She has a vision where she sees the court, and she has a lot of assists for being a big lady, like sort of like Joker for Denver. Yeah. It's going to be fun watching them. They're going to be tested, certainly, as they get along. They'll certainly be a number 1 seed. And going back to Florida, I think you're right about them being number 5. I think they have a very good chance of being a number 4. Right now, they're a number 2 seed. I don't know what section there is, but even a 2 seed is pretty high. So UConn women is going to be fun to watch, and my Gators too. So Daniel, I will be watching college basketball.
Yeah,
I will.
It makes me happy to hear it, for sure, and I'm definitely excited for it. I'm going to have to send you, because a wake-up call here on the show, we do a worldwide bracket challenge that you can fill out on Yahoo. So I will be sending you, because we cannot have the wake-up call bracket challenge without Papa Joe's bracket. So we're gonna have PJ's bracket in this thing. He mentions UConn in the Big East. Let's go into UConn for a second here on the women's basketball side of things and talk about who they are and what they have done. They are 20-0 this season in conference. They are 31-0 when it comes to their overall. They have not lost a game. The closest team to them in the Big East, Villanova, the Wildcats, are 16-4 and 23-6 overall. Everybody else beyond that has double-digit losses. The UConn Huskies this season, when you look at going 11-0 out of conference, who did they beat out of conference? They beat Louisville, who was ranked 20th at the time. They beat Louisville by 13. They beat Florida State, and they won that game by 32 points. They beat Loyola Chicago by 54 points. They beat Ohio State of the Big Ten by, oh my goodness, this is crazy. They beat them by 32 points, 100-68. They beat Michigan, who was ranked 6th in the country at the time, by 3. They beat Utah by 52 points. They beat Xavier in their conference 104-39. They beat South Florida by 30 plus. They beat DePaul in their conference by just shy of 70 points. They beat USC on the road out of conference by 28 points. They have gone on in their conference to beat Marquette by 36. They beat Iowa out of conference, who was the 11th ranked team in the country at the time. Remember when Iowa was ranked in the top 10? Or pardon me, that was Illinois. That was ranked in the top 10 in college football, and they got spanked. Well, Iowa, also of the Big Ten, was ranked in the top 11 in women's basketball. They lost to UConn by 26 points. Butler lost by almost 50 to UConn. Providence lost to UConn by just shy of 40 points. Seton Hall lost by almost 40 points. St. John's lost by 40 plus. Creighton lost by 40 plus. Villanova lost by 49. Notre Dame lost to the UConn Huskies women's basketball team by just shy of 40 points, 38 points. Georgetown lost by 40 plus. Seton Hall on the road, with UConn on the road going to visit them, they lost by 40. Xavier, when they faced them again, they beat Xavier by, oh my goodness, they beat them 97-39, almost 60 points. Then they played Tennessee late in the season. Tennessee of the SEC was ranked 15th in the country. UConn women's basketball beat them by 30 points. Then they beat DePaul again by 46. They beat Butler by over 30 points. They beat Creighton by 50 points. They beat Marquette on the road 71-56. They beat Villanova on the road 83-69. They beat Providence 81-38. Then they played Georgetown at home and beat Georgetown by 30 plus again. Then they played St. John's on the road and beat St. John's by almost 40 points. Holy mother of goodness. There's only one team that actually played a close game against them, PJ. The UConn Huskies. For those of you thinking that Gino Auriemma cannot coach the way he used to because of NIL and the transfer portal, I'll tell you this right now. This UConn team that's won about 115 national championships is now beating teams on average by 30 to 40 points a game. PJ.
It's true.
Crazy.
Now, if you look, if you'll follow Gino, and some of the teams that play for other coaches, they hold their fingers up and their hands up to get a play going. Gino Auriemma does not run but one play.
Yeah.
One play. That's how he gets his offense going. I know it. I can see it coming down the backcourt. They know exactly how they set up, and everything works off one play, except for an out of bounds play. The girls are ingrained in this, and it was about 10, maybe not quite 10 years ago, maybe 8 or 10 years ago. He thought his girls were a little soft, so what does he do? He plays the men's basketball team, 6 players against his 5 girls.
Yeah,
and the girls got toughened up really, really fast, and they said it was fun, but I don't think it was fun. 6 guys against 5 women, and they're going to pound the hell out of them on the glass and stuff. But that's how he coaches. He's a master. He's a psychologist. He's a psychiatrist. He's everything to do. He's got his lineage is forever. He's got players that are coaches forever, players that are analysts forever. He's just an amazing guy. And he's Italian, Daniel. That's the best part about him.
Yeah, Gino Auriemma, and I've been in the same room as him, and he is something. There's being a good coach at your sport, and then there's being one of the greatest coaches to touch planet Earth. And Gino Auriemma is one of the greatest coaches. If you put every sport, every level, everywhere in the world, just put all those coaches in a filter, one of the only ones that would come out, Gino Auriemma. So shout out to Gino and the work that he does, and shout out to the Big East, because Lord knows I love the Big East and I'm a Big East kid. So with that being said, Papa Joe and I are going to take a step aside. Papa Joe interrupted our baseball conversation to talk about basketball. This is a sign of the apocalypse, folks. Jesus is coming. So we will take a step aside for a fast break. When we come back, something came up yesterday. It's called the World Baseball Classic, and it's where the world gets to give you more of the Olympics in its own way, and we get to see what country is the best of the best. Well, I'll tell you this right now. America's roster would make you pass out. Go and look at it on the break. Do me a favor while you're listening to our wonderful partners here on Wake Up Call. Go and look at the roster for Team USA. And after you faint, have somebody wave something over you, put a little fan on you, get a sock to wake you up, and then be back with us in just a second here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Now a message inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios from our newest partner, Willow Rock, where we will be tonight, Thursday, March 5th at 5:30 p.m. with the girls flag football team in our inaugural broadcast from Willow Rock Pizza Pub featuring the CNS Northstars.
Cool.
Hey everybody, this is Rockney Roberts from Willow Rock Brewing Company. We are here in Cicero at the Willow Rock Pizza Pub.
And I'm Kevin Williams, also from Willow Rock Brewing Company. Happy to be here and happy to be partnering with CNS and Dan Tortora.
You want some place where you can feel comfortable and hopefully ingratiate yourself with the community. And Kevin, he grew up right down the road from here. I grew up in Brewerton, so not too far away. We know the area, we know the people, they're great, and we were just really excited to be able to come to the area.
Yeah, and having the opportunity to meet some of these coaches, some of the people in general already, and seeing the CNS colors kind of around, and already partnering on a smaller level with individual teams really made this make sense to us to really formalize kind of a partnership with the school and get this rolling.
You know, Willow Rock to me has always been about high quality beverages, high quality experiences, and now high quality food in our pizza pub. You know, that was something new for us when we came to Cicero. Right from the drop, we knew we were going to have a focus on the highest quality food to go with our high quality beer. At the Willow Rock Pizza Pub, you're getting high quality, hand cut, top notch ingredients. We're open for lunch. That's a really important thing for us, is to be able to get that person in here like, hey, you only got 30 minutes for lunch, but we're gonna have something for you that you can get quickly and available to everybody.
Yeah, we wanted something that was just a little bit outside the box, a little bit outside of comfort zone, but still something that you could rely on to be consistent and easy to look at and easy to be like, oh, I can see myself eating this. I can see myself wanting to have that more than once. Eating a whole pizza like our beef on weck pizza, I've never seen one anywhere. It's just a great ideas, great inspiration across the board. We're their spot to stop. We're their friendly neighborhood watering hole, as well as pizza place and place to stop for a restaurant. Not just beer drinkers here. We've got wines, we've got cocktails, we got non-alcoholic stuff for the kids.
The location is more important today than it ever has been before, and we're lucky enough to be here in Cicero. The Willow Rock Pizza Pub is a place where you can bring your family. You can come in, you can grab a soda, you can relax. You can come after a game, before a game, your parents, your grandparents. Our goal is to make sure that everyone's comfortable here. We want students, we want athletes, we want your coaches. It's going to be a good time. So come here, enjoy the high quality food, high quality beverage that we're going to offer to everybody. And hey, go North Stars.
We're so happy to have the North Stars. We are very much a kid-friendly establishment. We have tons of space outside for everybody to be playing outside, as well as listening to live music, enjoying some pizza.
The Willow Rock Pizza Pub is open 6 days a week here in Cicero. That is Tuesday through Sunday. And our website is willowrockbrew.com, and our socials are at Willow Rock Brew. So find us on the net, find us in person. We'll see you soon.
There you go, PJ. That's Willow Rock. You just got to hear their message for the first time ever. You excited about me adding a new partner here to Wake Up Call?
That's true, but I don't drink, Daniel.
You don't have to drink, PJ. They got pizza. They got sandwiches. They got great stuff. You know what they have that I can't wait to get tonight? They have a cheeseburger pizza.
Daniel, please.
Getting it, PJ. I'm getting a cheeseburger pizza today. We're doing it, Papa Joe. So here on the show, it's time to talk about inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. That's Papa Joe. I'm Dan Tortora, a.k.a. DT. Happy to be here with you. The 2026 World Baseball Classic essentially tipped its hat yesterday because the Chinese Taipei played Australia. Australia won 3-0. So that started off in the Tokyo Dome in Tokyo, Japan. And today we will see Australia against Czechia at 10 p.m. Eastern Time on Fox Sports 1. And we will also have, and then we have another result that came in as well. Czechia at Korea. Korea won that game against Czechia 11-4. So I don't know why that one's showing up the way it's showing up, but yeah. So we had 2 games yesterday, and then we have one today. And oh no, that's because that game already happened here on March 5th, because the games are all different times. I forgot they're playing some of these games at like 5 o'clock in the morning. So yesterday, Chinese Taipei played up against Australia. Australia won, and then Korea beat Czechia 11-4 today. The next game is going to be today, Australia at Czechia, which is at 10 p.m. Eastern time. So we're seeing these teams that, we're seeing some of the same here to kick things off. Friday's going to be a full slate, Friday, March 6th. Tomorrow, for those of you watching and listening live, it will start off with Japan at Chinese Taipei at 5 a.m. Eastern time. Y'all going to be up on Fox Sports 1. And then we have Cuba at Panama at 11 a.m. Eastern time on FS2. We have the Netherlands at Venezuela at noon Eastern time on Tubi, which is an app. If those of you don't have it, that's going to be played in Miami, Florida. And then the Cuba-Panama game is going to be in Puerto Rico. Japan at Chinese Taipei will be in Tokyo, Japan. Then Mexico will be at Great Britain at 1 p.m. Eastern time this Friday on FS1 in Houston, Texas. Puerto Rico will be at Colombia in Puerto Rico at 6 p.m. Eastern time on FS1. Nicaragua will be at the Dominican Republic at 7 p.m. Eastern time, FS2 in Miami, Florida. The United States will be at Brazil. And when I say at, and then you're saying, well, Dan, they're playing in a different country, that's because there's road teams and home teams, even though they're going to be on these different sites. So the United States at Brazil will be at 8 p.m. Eastern time on Fox this Friday, March 6th in Houston, Texas. And Chinese Taipei will take on Czechia and Chinese Taipei at Czechia at 10 p.m. Eastern time in Japan, and you will watch that game on FS2. So Fox has these games for the most part outside of Tubi on either Fox, Fox Sports 1, or Fox Sports 2. PJ, your thoughts as we officially have kicked off the World Baseball Classic with a game that happened yesterday, and now we will have a full slate of games coming up this Friday, including the United States first game.
Can't wait. Love to see it. I think the Japan-Chinese Taipei game is going to be a real good one today. It's embarrassing to read the United States' roster. I mean, it looks like an all-world team, and it probably is. There is a problem with the language and things like that. But the television networks are doing a good job trying to get the games to us, to make us interested. And I couldn't stay up last night to watch this Taipei team last night. They hit 5 home runs. One of them was a grand slam. They're a killer. They're really, really good. I think the Taipei-Japan game, the first round is going to be very, very, very good. Now, when you talk about the United States, of course, this is a voluntary thing, of course.
Yeah.
Some of these players want to play. Some of them don't want to play, but some of them do want to play and don't want to play because they don't have insurance to play, if you know what I mean. I think Puerto Rico is going through that now. A lot of players that play for Puerto Rico, they're not playing because insurance problems. If I were the Yankees, I don't know if I would let Aaron Judge or any of these other guys play if they didn't have a $50 million policy on them. I don't know what.
Yeah.
But if we got time, I think we do. If they got time, just look and listen to the players that are being involved here. I'll start with pitching. Can I do that?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, start with pitching. David Bednar plays for the Yankees, had a low ERA last year. He's a relief pitcher. Matthew Boyd, the pitcher for the Cubs. Garrett Clevenger, super pitcher for Tampa Bay. Clay Holmes, used to be with the Yankees, now with the Mets, is starting for the Mets. He used to be reliever with the Yankees. I don't know how that happened. Griffin Jacks is a pitcher for the Rays. We got Brad Keller as a pitcher for the Phillies, very good pitcher. We got Clayton Kershaw, who is not a pitcher for anyone right now because he's retired. But anyway, he's going to throw probably an inning or two. I think it's a very exciting for him to do that.
Yeah.
Then we got Nolan McLean, a pitcher from the Mets. We have Mason Miller, a pitcher for the Padres, a low ERA. And one of the best pitchers, two of the best pitchers in baseball. Let's say it. They are the two best players in baseball. Paul Skeens from Pittsburgh and Tarek Skubal from the Tigers. I don't know how the other teams are going to work facing these guys. One guy's a right-hander that throws smoke. The other guy is a crafty lefty that can throw smoke, but has so many different change-ups and pitches that he has an easy out. Tarek Skubal was the reigning two-time Cy Young Award winner, who will be in the market, probably, Daniel, I'm going to say $500 million after this season, or even before this season.
Yeah.
$500 million. The biggest contract ever, probably, even more so than Ohtani, but he's a pitcher. All right, we get Gabe Spires, a pitcher for Seattle. We got Michael Wacha from Kansas City. He's been around a few teams. Logan Webb, pitcher for San Francisco Giants. Garrett Whitlock, a pitcher for the Boston Red Sox. Ryan Yarbrough, who's a pitcher and reliever for the Yankees. Those are the pitchers. Now, there's not a lot of, like Mary says, that doesn't blow my skirt up, okay? But there are 3 or 4 serious pitchers there, led by Skeens and Skubal. The other pitchers are excellent. The teams that we're playing have not faced pitchers like this before anywhere, except maybe in Japan. They're not going to see. They haven't seen 95-mile-an-hour fastballs or 92-mile-an-hour sliders or 85-mile-an-hour changeups. They just don't. They're not used to looking at stuff like that, and they're going to be befuddled, and they're probably going to lose terribly. So let's give the Yankees, our pitchers, a good shot here. Now they're going to be thrown to the 2 best catchers in baseball. Cal Raleigh of Seattle, who was my pick last year, the most valuable player.
And mine too.
They were wrong when they got this right.
Yeah.
They did not see the value in Cal Raleigh. Karen Judge is a wonderful player, generational player, but please, Raleigh set records that they're better than Hall of Fame play records.
Yeah.
He was that good.
Yeah.
And a switch hitting catcher that hit 50 friggin' home runs. Mickey Mantle, wake up. He's just as good as you are. And the other guy, of course, is Will Smith for the Dodgers, who catches all the pitchers. And by the way, Will Smith calls his own game, and Will Smith plays doubleheaders. So he's not a wimp. Let's go to the utility players. One of the 5 best players in baseball, Alec Bregman, now from the Boston, is now with the Cubs for, I don't know, $300 million or something. A ridiculous number. Ernie Clements, an infielder for the Toronto Blue Jays. Paul Goldschmidt probably has a good chance to be a Hall of Fame player with the Yankees. This will be his last year. We got Bryce Harper, who is a Hall of Fame player, going to be too, in the Phillies. Gunnar Henderson from the Baltimore, who is on his way to being a Hall of Fame player. Very good player. You got Bryce Turing, infielder for the Milwaukee Brewers. Bobby Witt Jr., infielder for the Kansas City Royals, who will be a Hall of Fame player too. You heard it here from me. Roman Anthony, an outfielder for the Boston Red Sox. Byron Buxton, Minnesota Twins. Byron has not set the records real straight yet. He's played good, but not great. When he came in as a draft pick, he was supposed to be the best player in baseball, but he hasn't done that. But he's still a very good player. And we got Pete Crow Armstrong, who was really scary playing for the Cubs. I looked at the size of these guys, and I knew some of them were big. But Pete Crow Armstrong is only 6 foot, 180 pounds, and he hits 35 home runs and steals bases. I didn't realize that he was that small, but he's still a hell of a player. And then we got the best player in baseball right now is Aaron Judge. And if you don't like that, we got Kyle Schwarber, who's a DH, who hits 50 home runs just about every year. So that's the team, folks, and get a chance. The position players have better than anything I can remember in recent history for a format like this. The pitching probably could have been a little bit better, but I understand these pitchers did want to play because of they're in spring planning. They want to blow their arm out. Again, insurance.
Yeah.
So that's it, Daniel.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at what this team brings forward, like you said, you mentioned the pitchers. I mean, you hear David Bednar, you talked about Clay Holmes, Clayton Kershaw, obviously his history, Paul Skeens, who's very excited for this opportunity for the World Baseball Classic, Tariq Skubal. I mean, those are two names that I think are going to get massive deals, massive contracts at some point soon. Skeens could be a Yankee. Tariq Skubal is going to go somewhere. I mean, there's money that's going to come with those two pitchers. You look at a name like Logan Webb, and I agree with you. Cal Raleigh, listen, Aaron Judge every single year, if Aaron Judge is 50% of himself, he's an MVP guy. I mean, it's just reality. As long as Aaron Judge is around, he'll be in the MVP conversation. But when you see Cal Raleigh have the most home runs ever in a single season in Major League Baseball history for anyone who has played the position of catcher, you need to give that person his flowers. He had a record-setting year that will stand in history for Lord knows how long, could be the next 30, 40, 50 years, and he didn't get the MVP award. So this past season, he did earn the right to be the MVP. Aaron Judge had a great season, but Cal Raleigh had a season for the position of catcher that will stand for many, many years to come, arguably, and he broke a record that was standing. So shout out to Cal Raleigh of the Seattle Mariners. And then, you look at Alex Bregman in the infield, Gunnar Henderson, Paul Goldschmidt, former Arizona Diamondback, Bryce Harper, who came through Syracuse when Syracuse was the Washington Nationals farm team for AAA, Bobby Witt Jr., I mean, Bryce Terang, I mean, these names, Roman Anthony, an outfielder for Team USA, hit the longest home run of baseball last year in America, the longest one, almost 500 feet. And then you look at Pete Crow Armstrong, who you mentioned, who, a lot of people are high on what his future could be. Aaron Judge, who we named. Kyle Schwarber, who has obviously had himself a nice career. This team, they said that allegedly Mike Trout couldn't get the insurance, or else we could have had Mike Trout on this team. I mean, Team USA, listen, we know the Dominican Republic sends amazing players to America. We know that Puerto Rico can send them. We know Japan, obviously, when it comes to pitching and just overall talent. We know that there are other countries that are going to vie to bring something special to this World Baseball Classic. But America has a roster that feels like the dream team when you talk about basketball back in the 90s. So we'll see what this team can do. But it's like, hey, we don't have Skubal today. Who do we have? Oh, Skeens. Oh, Skeens is pitching against? Oh, Skeens isn't pitching today. So who do we have besides Skeens? Oh, Skeens isn't pitching. Skubal's not pitching. So you got David Bednar. Oh, okay. David Bednar's not pitching. So then you have Old Faithful Clayton Kershaw. I mean, when you look at this, who's up to bat right now? Oh, Bregman. Who's after him? Oh, Bobby Witt. Who's after Bobby Witt? Oh, we got this guy, Roman Anthony. And then who's cleaning up after that? Oh, we have Aaron Judge. I mean, this team is set to make a potential historic moment happen for Team USA. And I'm really excited. I'm not going to take anything away from anybody. The thing about this and what it's going to show people that don't know is that America is filled with players that are talented from all over the world, because now America is going to have to play against some of those players. And so we'll see what that looks like, and we'll see what those players can do on their home country's team, and maybe some prospects for the future that the Major League Baseball will be looking at. So this is going to be an opportunity for us to see what this looks like when some of these players go back home and they play for their team, as well as what does the rest of that roster look like and how it stacks up against America. And it's America's opportunity to show that even though we have a giant melting pot in Major League Baseball, just how good Team USA can be. So, I mean, I'm excited for this. Obviously, I'm waving that American flag, but I'm going to be watching these games closely and cheering on these players and these teams. And I think it's great when you get to go home and represent your own home country wherever you're from. So I'm definitely looking forward to this, PJ. And I will say that roster, wow. Wow. And there could have been more on that roster.
Absolutely. Just to Aaron Judge is in mid-season form. At exhibition game a couple days ago, he had a home run 453 feet. So he doesn't lack for power. This man could be a tight end or an edge rusher. He's 6'7", 280 pounds. He doesn't look that big, but when he's on the field against other players, you know how big he really is. I mean, he can have a check swing and hit a home run. I'm excited because I want to see them. And I know the TV's doing their best they can to get the television telecast right, but it's going to be difficult to watch some of these teams playing at 8 o'clock or 5 o'clock in the morning, 11 o'clock at night. One good thing for the USA, though, they're playing in Houston at that dome. Everyone, they know, our team knows that field. And the rest of the teams are playing, in China or Japan. Japan's probably playing in their home field too. So it'll be a good. I think that the fans will turn out for this because I think they're anticipating, as everyone is anticipating, a Japan USA showdown, and that means Otani and Yamamoto and these guys facing our sluggers. That's what I'm feeling.
Yeah,
I'm probably right, but like the Boomer says, that's why you play the game. So you got to play the game.
Yeah, no, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to everything that is to come, and it's going to be a great World Baseball Classic, and it makes us feel like the Olympics continue to carry on, which is going to be amazing. So very much anticipating what is to come with all of this. PJ, before I let you go, jumping into Major League Baseball spring training, we're seeing some players out here obviously trying to find their footing, and there's the potential that some young guns could find their way on a roster and circumnavigate the single A, double A, triple A world. So what are you seeing from Major League Baseball spring training so far that maybe has stuck out to you, as we have the Cactus League and we have the Grapefruit League? The Cactus League, which takes us out to Arizona, has the Giants in first place, followed by the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks, all from the same division of the National League West. And then in the Grapefruit League, which finds its way out to Florida, we have the Yankees tied with the Pittsburgh Pirates at the top of everyone, and the Braves and the Nationals right behind them. So what are you seeing so far from spring training?
I really haven't seen anything that really stands out. This is a very difficult time for players, managers, front office people. They have, a million people come in play, some 40-man roster, and the manager's got the toughest decision. Who are they going to send down? Who are they going to keep? I haven't listened to or heard or read any one young player that's standing out. Of course, the ones that are already playing are not playing that much because they're giving the other players a chance to make the team. When you have 40-man rosters and you got to cut down to 26, boy, that's hard. And half of those 26 are pitchers. So pitching is the name of the game, you know that. There probably going to be some hard throwers that I'm going to be watching pretty soon. I watched more of the games at the end of the season, the grapefruit season, because say the last 5 or 6 games, that's when the cream of the crop will be coming. Those are the ones that will be playing more and have a chance to make the team. Right now, probably the manager can toss out 10 that aren't going to make the team. There's going to be 4 or 5 players that are really, really good that they don't want to send down. They'd rather see play here. The problem with that is if they send them down, they're going to play fine. If they keep them here, they're not going to play. So what good is it going to do them? They want to see them play. So next week, I'll talk about the ones that are going to want to play.
Yeah, and I just want to shout out my Diamondbacks for getting some victories here, being in the top 3 right now of the Cactus League. Moreno got himself a hit most recently. Troy had 3 hits. Both of them had 4 at-bats, and just looking at as far as the pitching side of things, Brandon Pfaadt, he had in the most recent game, he had 2 1/3 innings pitched, allowed 1 hit, no runs, no errors, 1 walk, 1 K. And then I'm looking at Garcia, who had 2 Ks in the game, and then Abner, who had 1, Stroud, who had 1. So just watching these guys, I mean, this is the opportunity. Paul Sewald got involved a little bit. I mean, this is the time for you to see the building of your team, to see those names that you may not know, to see the names that come September, October, you're saying, wow, thank goodness this guy was on the team. But all the way back here, I was looking at him in March, and you know, this is how he made the roster. This is how he made the team. So I definitely think it's good in Major League Baseball spring training to get a little feel for who's coming up and who's available to you and what they can do and how they can do it. And so I would say if you're like, these games don't matter, they don't count, I would say they do matter, because this is the assembling of a roster. It's the assembling of where people are going to go, how they're going to start the season, where in the farm system they're going to be, or if they're going to be on the Major League Baseball roster come opening day. So I would say go and watch your team, pay attention, and look for those diamonds in the rough, because they could be the difference when it comes to fighting against the big bad wolf in the Major League Baseball playoffs, which right now is the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Well, true. And last year, we saw a wonderful story with your Blue Jays. We saw a young man named Trey Yestovich who blew through AA and AAA and made the team for the postseason. Now, this is young. He's only 22 years old. This is a young man that has a lot of talent, a lot of pitches. And I saw him play pitch the first time. He looked like a veteran. He's a big, tall guy, fast pitching. And he was a minor league player almost to the very last end of the season before they brought him up, and he starred in the World Series and almost won it for him. So, folks, there's always a guy like Trey Savage out there, and we're going to find out who he is.
Yeah, we're going to find out who these people are. Watch spring training, because you never know who the next star of Major League Baseball is going to be unless you decide to pay attention. So looking forward to what's coming up. And as we go back to the World Baseball Classic, America will have their first opportunity, and that'll come against Brazil this Friday, March 6th. You know that Papa Joe is going to be up at 5 a.m. for the first game, and he's going to be lasting all the way through to the last game. So PJ tomorrow, this is PJ's homework for tomorrow. I got to tell MT, I hope she can hear me. PJ is going to have to get up at 5 a.m. and watch Korea at Japan, and then he can go to bed at 1 a.m. after he watches Chinese Taipei at Korea. So he will be up just shy of 24 hours.
All right. That's good, Daniel. No, I won't.
Any final words, PJ? Anything else you want to say?
Just have a good time. What's happening? Congratulations on your new client. It seems like they're going to be a fun one, and you're going to have fun there tonight.
Yeah.
So have fun.
We will. Willow Rock. We will see y'all tonight, this Thursday, right here tonight, March 5th at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time with girls flag football of CNS, one of the pioneers for flag football in Central New York. Papa Joe, as always, I appreciate you. Give my best to MT, and we'll talk soon.
All right. Bye-bye.
Take care. Coming from Papa Joe one more time here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. I always appreciate his kind words, and his support goes beyond and means a lot to me. So we'll take a step aside for a fast break. Coming up in just a few minutes, we're going to have Pete Moore joining the broadcast, longtime athletic trainer and motivational speaker, and more than anything else, a man of God who definitely does not shy away from the fact that his blessings come from one place. And I agree with that. So we'll take a step aside for a fast break inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. When we spin back around, plenty to come here on Wake Up Call. We've already talked about women's college basketball, men's college basketball, World Baseball Classic, Major League Baseball, a new partner in Willow Rock. What could be next? Well, you're going to have to stick around and find out.
This is Jim Dispenza, owner of Game Point Sports Complex. You hear the same story across any sport that kids play and any sport that adults play. There's never enough places to play. That was definitely true with volleyball, definitely true with basketball. Could be cheerleading, it could be field hockey, which is what we're seeing now. Every sport has a lack of places to play, and I think Syracuse in particular is a place where it's really bad. Despite the fact that we've got a lot of athletic talent around here, we just seem to have not enough places for people to play, and they're going to different places. They're going to Rochester, they're going to, Buffalo. They're going all different places because we don't have a place here, and I felt like that should change. This was a long project from planning all the way through execution to opening the doors. A lot of work went into it, obviously, a lot of money, a lot of resources, and the dream always was kids being in the gym, having a good time. And I've always felt like sports is the most unfiltered joy that you can observe with people, that people can experience, because it is fun, it is a sense of accomplishment, it's all of that wrapped into one thing. And so watching kids going up and down the court with big smiles on their faces has been just amazing experience. I'm looking forward to years to come of that same thing. We've taken the time to invest in multiple sports, and then what we're finding is the mere fact that we have a large, clean, well-lit space has opened a lot more doors for us beyond basketball, volleyball, pickleball. Now we're having some interest from cheerleading. We've got girls field hockey coming in, and then also there's quite a bit of room for spectators. We've got bleachers, we've got benches, we've got a concession lounge where people can get food and drinks. We're going to have multiple sports going at the same time, using every square inch of this place for what it was conceived for, which is basically people to come in, have a good time in the sport that they prefer. We manage each situation differently. Everybody has different ability to afford different things. Some are bringing 10, 15 people, some are just 2 people. I've had a lot of situations where it's a father shooting around with his son, it's a mother playing pickleball with her daughter or with her son, and in those situations come up and we work with people, and that's allowed us to have groups from 2 people up to 30 people and have some flexible pricing behind it. We're an organization that is here to work with the community any way we can, and I guess part of it is just making sure that we have the flexibility to put together a plan that makes sense regardless of the size of your group. So in order to book time, the best option is to go to our website, gainpointsports-syr.com. You can click from there and sign up for events, sign up for your own particular training, sign up for birthday parties, all of that.
And now a message from Myers Creek Brewing Company, with locations at their Cazenovia Farm Brewery, Syracuse Inner Harbor Tap Room, and soon-to-be Lake Placid Tap Room.
Well, I think first and foremost, the Feldmeyer family and our team are extremely passionate about what we do. We care very much about what we do. The Feldmeyer family is always investing. Our taproom management team, our brew management team, our marketing management team, and all of the team members that get after it every day, they leave it on the field. They put their heart and soul into it. I know for a fact that everyone that works at Myers Creek wants to be there, and we want them to be there. We want them to feel good about their job. And again, if you've never been to a Myers Creek, especially to the brewery, I want your eyes to open really big. I want you to see how big of a brand this is. I want you to see where we're going. The sky is the limit, and I feel very proud of that, and I'm very excited about that. When you think of designing a menu for a brewery, it's kind of open to a lot of different interpretations. You can do American, you can do Asian, you can do Italian, and you just have to find, how that meets that pub style dining experience, that gastropub vibe. And I think it's super fun for us because obviously we know that, everyone in the world's going to sell a pizza or a burger or a french fry, but what can we do to be different? And what can we do to be true to who we are? We are a brewery, a brew pub. So the flavor profiles are kind of all over the place. And I think it's super cool that we have a massive smoker at the brewery in Cazenovia, and we smoke a lot of our products. A delicious smoked turkey. We have barbecue ribs on Sundays. From a pulled pork sandwich to a chicken wing, and you go to the Inner Harbor and you go to the Kaz location, and you'll find similarities in the menu, but also things that are a little different, and also kind of fit those different demographics or different communities, and also hopefully just drive you to try every tap room that we have open at some point, because you get a little something different at each one. We understand how hard it is to work every day and get after it every day, and when you're done at the end of your day, you want to go out and put your feet up in a good ambiance and good environment. So we take pride in that. We make sure that everyone knows that they're very much valued to us.
Here's a message from Renee from Bryan's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York. Open Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and Sundays for brunch.
It's a lot like the way that my mom and dad ran their restaurant. We have put in place a lot of people that are family to us, very similar to how my dad hired people that were family to him. And then the tradition I'm carrying on is a lot of the items that are on our menu are my dad's. And he taught our chefs how to recreate his dishes. So I think that Tommy McNerney, who our executive chef is, to him it is an art. And I think that when he does create a dish, it's not just about making the food taste delicious, which is definitely our priority, but it's an art to him, and it's almost like his canvas on a plate where he just wants the colors to look great, and people love it because he takes pride in that. And Bryan and I appreciate that. We want it to obviously look good and taste good. I will tell you, when we opened up, it was 6 weeks before COVID. And what was amazing was the community, our friends and family stepped up, and everybody did takeout. Everybody supported us. Our hearts were just so filled. So to Bryan and I, obviously our friends come all the time, and we just have repeat customers in Jamesville, and I think people going to our previous restaurant in Green Lakes are making the trip to come to Bryan's Landing to support us. And I mean, I think we have great food and a great atmosphere. So it's very, very important to us.
Head to Bryan's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York, where memories have become recipes that are now meals to share with you. Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and on Sundays for brunch. And be sure to come out for live music Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Life gets busy, and sometimes that means us running around. So Canine Camp Dog Daycare offers you an opportunity to give your dog a place to stay while you take care of what you need to throughout the day. Canine Camp Dog Daycare is located on 228 Old Bridge Street in East Syracuse, New York. You can see it from the highway, and it's just off of Erie Boulevard across from BJ's Wholesale Club. Call 315-437-7110. That's 315-437-7110 to schedule an appointment to bring your dog in and tour the facility. Appointments are Monday through Thursday after 6:30, where you and your dog can see everything that Canine Camp Dog Daycare has to offer, including a self-serve dog wash and a retail store filled with all of your dog's wants and needs, including food, treats, harnesses, leashes, and more, making Canine Camp Dog Daycare your one-stop shop for your furry-loving friend. Right, Lily? And welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We appreciate you being here, hanging out with us inside of the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Always appreciate you being here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and cannot thank you enough. Got to rock the Italia shirts here over the Wake Up Call, so got to have both here, as we're excited to, in just a moment here, have Mr. Pete Moore joining the broadcast. So we're just waiting to get his video. I can hear him, waiting to see him here and get everything set and ready to go for Pete to join the broadcast. Appreciate him so very much. I can hear you, Pete. I just can't see you. We're working on it. So,
is that on my part?
Yeah.
Hold on.
Yep. You just got to hit the video thing. So I just asked you to join. Let's see if we can bring it. There he is. I see him now. We got Mr. Moore. So we're going to bring him in a few minutes, about a minute early here. We're going to bring in Mr. Pete Moore, the longtime athletic trainer and motivational speaker, fresh off of seeing Mike Washington Jr. at the 2026 NFL Combine. And so we're going to go ahead and bring in Pete here this morning on the broadcast. We thank you for being here inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios, where sports truly meets that thing called life. So we're working on it, but we're going to bring him in here momentarily. We could see him, and he is on a bus right now. And there he is. So as he always does, He's helping out the kids. He's supporting the kids. So this man went from being on a trip to being on a trip. And in between it all, we were talking on the phone about, doing the right thing and caring about kids. So it is absolutely fitting that he's on the road again. Mr. Moore, how we doing?
I'm very blessed. How are you?
I'm doing very well. I got to say this to you, Pete. I know that you got your hair game going, and you always have like your covers that you have on. I mean, you always have a way that you bring your style into it. And I've never asked you this before, but has your style changed over time, or has it been similar?
The same. I'm taking it to the grave, Sorry. I'm not going to change anything. Everything's going to stay the same.
I like it. I like it. So you're on the bus. Let everybody know where you're going.
I'm on my way to the New York State Championships. I have 6 kids that I work with that are in the state finals. So it's just been, road trip after road trip after road trip. But it's all a blessing because this is what the man above put me on this earth to do. So just doing his work.
What'd you say? You've been doing it for what?
I said I've been just doing his work. That's it.
Yeah, and I mean, like you said, you're on the way to New York State repping here, and just to I mean, who are you going out there to see? Who's on the bus with you? I want to share with everybody the people that we're excited to spotlight.
Well, these kids are a lot of kids from all different teams all over Central New York.
Yeah.
So they have a bus that I guess they take, people from Section 3. That take them down to where the state championships are at. So this is my first time doing this. Coming on the bus. Usually I drive down with Coach D. But this is the first time I'm doing it. This is good because it's nice and relaxing. You don't have to worry about anything. Just sit back and just ride.
Yeah, and like you said, you got a bunch of Section 3 student athletes that are here. So representing Central and Upstate New York. Just what that means to you. I know you've done a lot of work with CNS, but you've also done a lot of work overall with the community of Central and Upstate New York. And, this again, the way that God works, what you're doing right now exemplifies what you do all the time, which is help CNS, but also help the greater area of Central and Upstate New York. So just what you can say to that effect of doing a lot of work with Cicero North Syracuse and then branching out beyond that.
Well, the thing is like I've always told you, I'm always willing to help these kids get to the next level. From everything that I've been blessed to have and know, and the people that I've been surrounded around by, it's just, it's good to see a lot of these kids that are, some of them are living out their dreams. I know a lot of these kids have worked really hard to get to where they are. So, but for me, with the kids over at CNS and all over the places, other places that I work with kids, it's just, from all their hard work, I guess the finish line of everything they do, through the summers and winters and, fall stuff. And, so at the end, you just sit back and you watch their achievements.
What are you most excited to see with where you're heading to this weekend?
Just to watch a lot of these kids grow. Some of these I have not been there to the state meet, and I just want to see, just how they respond. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. Whenever you go to a job, interview, no matter what you do, people are looking for how you respond. That's it. I want them to have fun and enjoy the moment,
Yeah, and being a part of a meet, if someone has never gone to one before, how would you describe the atmosphere?
Oh, it's going to be something. Kids that never went to it, it's going to be kind of nerve-wracking, I think. A lot of kids' first time in front of a lot of people.
Yeah.
I've been in arenas where you have thousands and thousands and thousands of people. You know what I'm saying? So for a kid that hasn't been into a big state meet, it's a good eye opener, and you got to compete against the best kids in the state.
And I mean, for Central and Upstate New York, you and I have talked about how this community means so much to you, and how it's so important to you to spotlight these kids. That you and I share that, and it's a beautiful thing. I mean, if people pay attention, and you and I are spoiled to do this, but because we get to be around these kids all the time, but there's so much talent. It doesn't matter the sport, it doesn't matter the age, it doesn't matter the school. There are so many wonderful young men and women in central and upstate New York. And what is it like for you to see them shine, to see them work, to see them grow? Because you train them and you're working with them constantly. So you're seeing them elevate themselves. You're seeing all the stuff they call the tip of the iceberg. You're seeing everything below the water, that whole piece of the iceberg that most people don't get to see. So for you, how rewarding are moments like this because you're working with these kids all the time?
It's good because a lot of kids, haven't experienced this kind of stuff, and the thing is just to see them from all the hard work. Sometimes, a lot of kids I get are kids that don't believe in themselves.
Yeah.
So just to see them be able to get to that pinnacle and to do good things, it helps them turn around. I mean, like in so many facets, not just in track, but like we talked about before in life, it builds confidence, it builds character, it builds all those things that, you talk about that you want to see in a person that truly wants to become successful.
And like you said, I mean, building character, building up, who a person is, who they're going to be, and what they represent. We saw Mike Washington Jr. You have sat right here with me in the studio. Mike has sat in the exact same spot here in the studio. And I told a story about Mike Washington to describe the type of human being that he is. And when he was going through and he was at CNS, he came here. And when we had to wear masks, he still came to my studio and wore a mask during COVID. Instead of doing it over Zoom, no, Mr. Tortora, come here. So he comes to the show, and then he goes from Buffalo to New Mexico State to Arkansas. And I call him up, and I'm like, hey, Mike, we'd love to have you back on the show. Let me know when you're in town. I said, we could do it over Zoom. No, Mr. Tortora, I don't want to do it over Zoom. I don't want to do it over the phone. I want to sit in your studio. To me, that always says the type of human being he is. I want to drive to you. I want to sit with you. I want to spend time with you. What can you say about the character of Mike Washington Jr.?
Well, that's my boy. Like I said, from day one, working with him, just everything about him is just, like I said about Brianna, what you see is what you get. You know what I'm saying? These kind of kids have a special kind of characteristic thing about them. They're genuine. They're unique people. A lot of those people don't come along, very often, but that's the stuff that we try to preach to get kids to understand that there's something inside you that's special. And these kind of kids that, that I've been blessed to have, being be a part of their lives, it's just been, they're special. And their families are, very good people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and you've gotten to see Mike grow over time, like a lot of these student athletes we're talking about. Can you go back to the first moment when you started working with Mike Washington and describe that moment?
Wow. After he ran the combine, we went back to the hotel, and, me, his mom, and we were sitting there, and his dad, we were sitting there talking, and we were just reminiscing about how it all started. And, the days where, like, Mike used to tell me, but I never really thought about what he was saying when he used to say, I used to go home, and I used to be on the floor. I didn't get my homework done, and he was like, I'm so tired, and yada, yada, yada. I didn't really pay attention to that, because, being locked in and what we were trying to accomplish. And his mother said, when we were talking, she was like, I used to get so mad at him because he knew he had to do homework and stuff like that. Then he would come home and he wouldn't finish his homework. He would fall asleep on the floor. He wouldn't get his stuff done. And she was like, Michael, you're supposed to do your homework, blah, 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 blah. Then she said, all he talked about was football, 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 football. And then she turned and looked at him and she goes, now I understand. It was a great story. I mean, but I laugh now because, back then I never, I was all dialed in about what we were trying to do, where we were trying to go, things we're trying to accomplish. And then now it's just, I don't know. It's just, I still to this day, I know what happened on Saturday, I am still on a major high right now because of everything that he did.
Yeah, I mean, and you're physically in the building. I mean, you were at Lucas Oil Stadium. the home of the Indianapolis Colts, the home of the 2026 NFL Combine, a longtime home of the NFL Combine. Mike Washington Jr. ran the fastest 40-yard dash of every running back at the Combine. Very few running backs get invited. Of the few that got invited across the entire country, 50 states, he runs the fastest 40, a 4.33. And for SEC running backs historically that are at least 220 pounds that have run a 4.3 something, he's in the same world as Bo Jackson, Herschel Walker. He is tied for 6th amongst running backs running the 40 at the Combine in the history of the NFL Combine throughout all of these years and decades. And you physically watched history, and not only did you see history, which would have been cool to see with anybody, but you saw it with the kid that you remember being a little kid growing up and all he did was talk about football. What was that like for you to physically be in the building, in the room, at the stadium when this moment happened live?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I said just what the moment was like to physically be live there when Mike made history.
Well, it kind of like brought tears to my eyes because of all the hard work that we put in. You know what I'm saying? And it was just, building up to that, we knew what he needed to do because he kept telling me, through the whole process when he went down to start training, it's just like, all I got to do is put up a good time at 40 and I will be really good. And he called me and told me, he goes, I just ran a 4.34. He goes, if I can get that. But, through the whole thing, everywhere he went, a lot of people, were sleeping on him a lot. And that was our motivation. Everywhere we went, all these scouts were telling them that, we know you're going to run a 4.45 and 4.5 and all this other stuff like that. But that we know that that's noise, and we know that what we do is different than what everybody else is going to think. Yeah. And we just concentrate on doing God's work, that's all I kept telling them. We're here for a reason. We're to do what God wanted us to do, and you got to finish it out. So when he went up there and I was filming him, I said, it looked like he looked like he did it so effortless. You know what I'm saying? And it was just it was a moment that I'll never forget.
Yeah, I mean, that he's capable of doing great things. But did you ever think you were going to be sitting there watching the little kid that's grown into a young man that's getting ready for the NFL have the best run, have the best 40-yard dash number of any running back in the entire country at the time, to have the 6th best record ever in the history of the Combine, and to be in SEC conversation of the Bo Jacksons and the Herschel Walkers?
What's kind of funny is, I was sitting back with somebody the other day. I said, when I ran the store, I said, just think about this. People thought that a lanky girl that was, going to be a good ball player, but we said we're going to go out and change the world, which we did. And a lot of people looked at her and said that she's too skinny, she's too this, she's too that. Okay. Then I look at Mike, people were saying this, that he wasn't this and that. And we said differently. This is where I'm seeing. This is the way that when we train our athletes, we don't train them just to, be accordingly to, just go out to perform. There's a lot that go in it, and there's a lot that, we pray, we believe. Our faith is so deep. So that is a major, major, major thing that when we go out and perform at the highest point, we don't worry. We just put all our trust in God.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
he's going to be with us.
No, I think we lost you for a second. What were you
He's
saying?
going to be with us. Said that. Did you get me when I was talking about Bree?
I heard you. I mean, if you want to say it again, because you kind of went in and out, and I don't want to take anything away from Miss Brianna Stewart. So you were saying, there was a lanky girl back in the day, and I'd love for you to tell that story again.
But back in the day, everybody used to say, Bree was too skinny, she was too this and that. But I used to tell everybody she's the best, and we're going to change women's basketball. So everybody was sleeping on her. All right. So then look at what she's become. So the same thing with Mike. Mike was what, 2 3 star running back. Everybody slept on him, didn't think he could, pan out in the SEC. He didn't belong and all this other stuff like that. But this is the stuff when we train our athletes that we don't look upon. We know that's noise. We put all of our trust and faith in God. So what everybody else is saying and what we're doing, we don't worry about that. The thing that we worry about is going in, taking care of the matter at hand, and just trusting in what God has planned for us that day. And that day, it was just the biggest blessing anybody could ever get. And we knew what we had to do. And I kept telling them through the whole process of everything that we've been doing that God has you ready, man. And the door is there for you to open. If you listen to some of the interviews, he'll tell you he went there, he kicked the door open, and he just walked right through. And that's what happens. There's a lot of work, like I said, that goes behind everything that we've done with him.
Yeah.
But to see that piece of it, I've seen it behind closed doors because I talk to him all the time, and I keep up on what people are doing with him outside of. And, the funny part of it is also, too, is he's, when he went to the other guy when he left Arkansas, he was telling me, everything that you taught me, they're doing the same thing here. And I felt comfortable with that. And then he told me a story about when he went in and they started working with him, someone with his feet. And he said people were beating him. And then he said, I remember what you told me about my feet, and I had to change some things. And then he said after that, game was over. So now just watching him do his thing, we've seen that rehearse day after day, night after night, year after year. So for the world to see it, we've seen it for the longest before now. And God's put him on the big stage, and now the world gets to see what we've been seeing for years.
Well, and here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios with longtime athletic trainer and motivational speaker Pete Moore, and beyond everything, a man of God and a friend of mine. That I think is an understatement to just simply call you a friend. You've treated me like family. The thing about you, Pete, and there's so many places I want to go from what you just said about Bree and about Mike, but what I love the most is we never know when we want to do something, when something in our heart just kind of calls us to do it. Somebody like you, somebody like me, we're going to do it. We're just going to do it. And the fear goes away, and it's like, hey, I'm going to show my love. I feel the need to. When you found out that I was teaching at CNS last year, you saw it on Facebook. And I'm sitting there, I'm getting ready. I didn't know you were in the building. I didn't know you knew I was in the building. You opened the door and you just were standing there, and Tracy's like, hey, and you're like, hey, and she's like, what do you need? And he's like, I just want to go tell my man that I love him. I just want to give him a hug. And then you gave me a hug, and you're like, all right, have a good day. And I just want people to know that, like, when you do those things for Bree, for Mike, for every one of us, Pete, like, it's those godly moments. It's those moments where you don't know that hug that day I needed for 17 reasons, but when someone just shows up and the door opens, like you said, Mike kicked the door open. Well, that day when I was teaching, you kicked the door open to give me a hug. And I just feel like you got to be thanked for moments like that, because it's the kick the door open, give you a hug, and then tell you to carry on with your day. I love the people that find a second out of their busy schedule just to say hello. And you always do that.
Well, thank you for that. That's what I've been doing all my life, and I know I'm on the trip. I got to give him a shout out. Coach D, every night when things are not going good for me sometimes, he's the one that pick up the phone and we have the conversations, or I tell him, what has happened and stuff like that. And he always he'll read a scripture or he'll say something to me that connects, or I will send stuff to him and he goes, no, I need you to check out this. And then the stuff he sends to me and I'm just like, whoa, he just blows me away. But that is a person, man, for all the years, for me coaching that track and stuff like that, for me, like I do with the athletes, he's always been there. He's always shown me the way. And, when things are not going good, he's always saying, here, listen to this, or tell me about that, So, like I said, I've always had good people in my corner, And I was explaining to Mike and the family, last night I had called Mike and told him he had to listen. And we talked about, him and the things that are becoming his way and the things that, with new friends and new things and the things that he's got to watch out for and the things, that he has to pay close attention to, because, his agent, we were eating out with his agent, he was saying, Mike, by running that time, it's going to make your life change. And so I just told him, I said, these are the things that I'm going to be looking for. And he was like, when we were eating dinner and the agent was talking, and it was kind of funny, he looked across the table and he goes, "E, you haven't said anything. How come you're so quiet?" I said, "I'm just soaking everything in. I'm the one that likes to sit and watch and just making sure everything is taken care of the right way and making sure that, he's going to get the job done. I know because God's looking over."
Yeah, and that's, I think, and I was talking about this, and I was talking about it last night. I said, seeing what Mike's done, he puts God first.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, it's like people look at him and they look at his talent and, oh, he trains and, he's got this God-given talent. And it's like, yeah, but if you ask Mike about anything, well, last time he sat here in the studio next to me, anything I asked him about, it went back to God. You and I talked about God 97% of the conversation, if not 98. So you're not, I feel like you'll smile when I say this, and I do too. We're not surprised that Mike is doing so well because he's got the secret weapon. He's got the OG of OGs. He's got the ace in the hole. He's got God with him all the time. And that's, so when people say, how's Mike Washington? Where did this kid come from? I said, this man put God first. You put God first, God's going to put you first. That's what happens.
Right. Right. And the thing is, it's just funny because, we're always asked to live, walk, and act the way that he wants us to do. And then I watched when he got baptized and all the other stuff like that. It's just, the things I've watched him grow from the days of just driving to his house every night, talking to him about life and stuff like that. And it's just how he's grown has just been amazing. And I tell his parents that all the time, you have a good one. And he comes from an amazing family. His family's an amazing family and they're good people. But just to watch him, how much he's grown now. And, my thing is I gotta make sure, just like with any of the kids, making sure that, they're doing the right thing and they're taking care of themselves the right way.
And when you look at that first moment with Mike, meeting him to where he is right now, where has he stayed the same to you? And where has he changed for the better?
Well, a lot of the athletes that I have, I gut check them all the time. The one thing is all about being humble. And that's why when people step outside the line, I make sure they understand. I have to talk to them about it. A lot of things is not just you're doing the wrong thing, but, a scenario of what I've done or what past athletes have done. And
we might have lost Pete here for a second. We'll look to get him back here. They are on the road currently, so Pete is traveling. Pete Moore, the longtime athletic trainer and motivational speaker that has worked with CNS student athletes as well as student athletes throughout central and upstate New York, is living exactly how I describe him because he is on the road on a bus with student athletes from all over central and upstate New York. as they represent themselves to New York State over the weekend. So it is in true fashion that Pete is being exactly Pete right now, which is going and spending time with those that he cares about and those that he works with all the time. So we did lose him temporarily because he is on a bus, and we'll look to bring him back in just a moment inside the Great Lakes Honda City studios. Stay with us here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora.
Avicoli's restaurant, located on 7839 Oswego Road in Liverpool, New York, has been serving our community for decades. Your place to go for home cooking on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road is just minutes from Liverpool High School. And every single month, Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is on site, on location, with Liverpool sports, student athletes, coaches, and administration telling their stories throughout the year. We look forward to seeing you on site at Avicoli's for their casual pizza side, their fine dining, as well as their bar. And of course, you can order online at myavicolis.com. That's myavicollis.com. For takeout, delivery, and catering, call 315-622-5100. That's 315-622-5100. Come on into the neighborhood spot Avicoli's, open 7 days a week in Liverpool, New York. K9 Campground Dog Boarding is your home away from home for your furry-loving friends. Open 7 days a week with drop-off and pickup times in the morning and later on in the day and early evening. K9 Campground Dog Boarding is the spot to trust with your dog for short and long-term stays. Call 315-299-4013 for more information. That's 315-299-4013, and go to k9campground.com as well. That's K9, ground.com, where you will find all of the information on their different cabins, which include the classic cabin, executive cabin, grand cabin, and luxury cabin. K9 Campground Dog Boarding, where your dog will have indoor and outdoor areas as well as their own private cabin for any size, any breed, as well as dogs with different needs. Dog parents and dogs alike choose K9 Campground Dog Boarding. Isn't that right, Lily? Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the Whole Frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating at 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and always online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, order anywhere, anytime at maandpaspopcorn.com. Stop in to get a tin at Ma and Pa's on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York to get your half-price refills for the rest of your life. Come to Ma and Pa's for your holiday gift giving for family, friends, employees, and clients. And remember, for fundraising and events, to call 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
And a welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. We're happy to be here with you. And we have Mr. Pete Moore here with us on the road, and he is back with us again. And like I said, as he was talking there, it froze a little bit because he's literally doing what I commend him for and talk about all the time, which is being with the kids, supporting the kids, and cheering them on. And because he's doing that, and agreed to be on the show this morning, sometimes the Wi-Fi goes in and out. So, Mr. Moore, we were discussing some things there about, the Mike that you met in the beginning to the Mike that is today. What's similar? What's different?
Well, Mike was a kid that, like, when we first started training, I always tell kids, you're never going to outwork me. So there were days that he rolled into school, you start school at 7, and then I think we used to leave CNS probably like at 9 o'clock at night. So it was a long day. They had school, we had long workouts and everything like that. And he's always been a kid that's always wanted to be pushed, always wanted more, always wanted to be good. Then I told his parents, I said, one night we're driving home, and he said to me, Coach, I want to go to the league. And I said, okay. But the thing is, he spoke that from his heart. I turned and I looked at him, and he started just changing. But for the better. He was doing things that what you needed to do to become great. So it was just watching him do that, and then what everything that people are seeing right now is a lot of stuff that we groomed, but also too that we saw way back when. He has not changed. And the one thing I told him the other day or last night when I was talking to him, I said, when your agent says, I'm still trying to learn you and for you to trust me, I said to him, that is something that you should never, ever lose, because, a lot of people, when they get into knowing good things going to be coming their way, they change, in a way to a certain extent, but, by him seeing that he's still trying to learn Mike, he's still trying to build Mike's trust, I said, I saw all that stuff back when I had, and he's not going to put himself around people that he don't trust, because Michael is a very person, like, study, like how I am, and I always used to tell, for me coming through, been trained by the best minds in the world, it's just, I look for different things in people. I look how people, the characteristic things in people. There's certain unique things that I look at, that makes me understand who you really are. And, as his agent always talks about, you checking boxes. He checked all those boxes.
Yeah, and that's the thing. This young man said he wanted to do something,
yep.
And then he put the work in. And, we live in a society where somebody goes, I want to be the CEO. And then they sit on a couch. And Mike Washington didn't do that. Mike Washington said, I want to go to the NFL. And the funny thing is, and I think what makes you and I smile and his parents smile and the people that know him and love him is that everybody's like, who's Mike Washington? Who's this guy that just ran this? And we're sitting here going, oh, we know that man for like his whole life or 7 years or 10 years. Like when I saw Mike do it, it just makes you look up at God and go, thanks for looking out for a real one. I mean, that's all it was for me. It wasn't like, oh my gosh, Mike. It was like, yeah, all right, Mike, do your thing. And Brianna Stewart, all right, Bree, do your thing. Like, you know, I mean, and then my little sister, Franny, for goodness sakes, I mean, she's D1 lacrosse right now going out there and killing it. And I'm talking to her coach, Liz Bevel, before the season, and she's like, I expect her to beat all these records. You know, I expect her to get after these records. So, you know, I mean, there's something to be said about the people that shock the world, where I don't think you and I are sitting here shocked about the Brianna Stewarts and the Mike Washingtons or my little sis Franny. Like, I don't think any of this surprises us, because when you know the person or you watch the person or you get to appreciate the work that they've done, I mean, why am I sitting here stunned when Stewie wins a championship, when she won 4 championships in 4 years? She's an MVP in college. She's the #1 overall pick. And why am I shocked when Mike Washington goes out there and kills it at the combine? All it makes me say is they're diamonds in the rough to some people, but to other people, you know, we know that there's some great people in this community, and you get to train them, and it's a blessing, because you get to be a part of their story way before the world knows who they are.
Yep. Yeah, it's been a blessing. I mean, a lot of these kids, you know, when I first saw them, I mean, like in Bree, when she was in 8th grade, she was just a bubbly kid, you know what I'm saying? And now look at her. I mean, she's taking the world by storm. Like, and it's just, you know, every time I talk to her, it's just I'm watching her just grow up, you know, and like I said, it's just living out the dreams. But a lot of stuff when they're with us, we work on just the mental, work on your physical, mentally presence, and how you carry yourself. And then I tell them a lot of these people, you know, like for instance, like with Mike, you know, or I'll say the athletes or kids, you know, if you look at Brianna, when she wins stuff, she's not. You see today's athletes jumping around, hat turned to the side, and, you know, a lot of that kind of stuff. Well, she stands in the back. You know, she's not that one that's like take forth coming like Mike. He's a kid that just, you know, he sits in the back and he you know, you didn't see him running around, jumping up and down. He's crying. You know what I'm saying? Those are the kind of athletes that's your character. That's a character check. You know, and those are the things that we look for, or I look for in an athlete, you know, when I'm working with them. And then meeting their parents, that speaks volumes as well, you know. So every athlete that I have, I'll make sure the parents understand who they're with. And, you know, that's another check. You know, a lot of these kids have come from phenomenal backgrounds, and their parents have done a hell of a job with, you know, grooming these kids to who they are today.
Yeah. And like you said, I mean, shout out to the fact that it takes a village. I mean, Pete, what is it that you feel like when you're teaching, when you're training, what are you honing in on? Because like you said, Mike Washington Jr., he's telling you who he's training with post Arkansas, and he's like, Coach, they're doing the same thing that you did with me. So, I mean, how are you kind of developing your plans? Because you're hearing from a guy training for the NFL who's saying, you know, Pete, they got me doing the same thing, and that's not a mistake.
Well, a lot of stuff, because, you know, like I said, I spent 78 years with the USA team, and a lot of stuff is, like I was telling them, it's a science, you know, and I say I'm the mad scientist. When they come into the lab, it's time to work. We don't train like everybody else out there. That's why you see a lot of our athletes are doing bigger things at bigger places, you know, and they could get into a big situation where playing in a national championship, and they can, you know, do big things. You know what I'm saying? It's just, we kind of do all that kind of stuff like in training. You know, we get their mindset and everything. You know, when Mike first started, my thing was, when he was in high school, I said I wanted to go in and I wanted you to break some combine records. But the records that I wanted was we were looking for standing broad jump, and I think the vertical jump. And before, when he was at Arkansas, when he came in, he had called me. He had like 43 inch for it, and I think he was a little bit heavier than he was then. But a lot of the groundwork is, that we do is like it's just different. I don't. When I train athletes, it's totally different than what everybody else does. And a lot of the kids, majority of our kids, have seen a lot of great progress from that. And it's not beating up their bodies, not beating up their minds. Just trying to get these kids to be old school, mentally tough kids that have great character. And it's funny because a lot of these kids, once they're around us, by us just watching what we do, they start talking about God more. They start carrying themselves so much different than, the way they talk is different. And it's just by us doing what we're supposed to do. Live, walk, and act like how God wants us to.
Well, and you hit the most important point of the day, and that's the fact of like you believe in God and it comes through who you are and how you live. You're not forcing it, you're not pushing it, you're not, pounding the pulpit, so to speak. But you said when people are around you, they see that. And then you hear them start talk about it more. Maybe they come in, they never talk about God, and then you work with them for a few months, few years, and all of a sudden you hear them say, thank God for this, or, I prayed today. The rewarding part of that for you, like how you see that come about, where you live for God, and then you eventually see people around you start to talk about him more. Just how that kind of happens in the essence of that, where God, you kind of just, without forcing it, with just being you kind of open that doorway, and then you see some people walk through it and say, now I have a relationship with God.
Yeah, you'd be surprised at how many kids that I have that I would have never thought, but I have another track kid. She's a distance runner. She's going to be really, really good. She's young now. And when I first had her freshman year, she was coming last in everything that she does. And now she's won a section championship. She's running better times. She's not coming last, finishing in the top 3 or 5 in races that she gets in. Funny because she tells me how she reads the Bible all the time. And if you look at her, you would have never thought about that. Very quiet kid. Then last night we were out training, and she was like, I said, she said to me, she sent me a text, goes, how she put it? I didn't get the message that that we were practicing this week. And I said, why? What happened? I gave up all my media, my online stuff. I don't want to be on it anymore. And she says that it was such a distraction that I didn't want it. She goes, but I feel so much better now because it gives me more time to read. And I was like, making the connection.
Yeah.
So it's that kind of piece, and I always told her, I said, you're going to be really good. You just watch. From when I first started with her to now, she's grown so much. I mean, as a young person, and people are going to be hearing about her. We have a lot more kids in our stable that are going to do some amazing, 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 amazing things. And a lot of those kids, they go to church with the family, and they do those things like what God wants them to do, and it's just amazing. I feel so good about it. And Central New York's got to watch out because there's a lot of kids out there that have that inside of them, but people don't bring it out of them. You know what I'm saying? But we always tell everybody when they come to us, we're a family, and and it's funny because when last year, we had kids that were at the Nike Nationals, New Balance Nationals, Adidas Nationals, They're all doing big things. It's so funny because all those kids were texting each other, seeing how they were doing and stuff. That's what it's all about, family. You know what I'm saying? So it's just, and as they go on, I sit back and, like I tell them, I just want to go to your wedding, your kids' things, or, just things that you do that are positive down the road. And I see a lot of kids that did believe, that have earned and great things of that.
Yeah. Like you said, I mean, it just, you see the growth, you see it come out of them. And, people call it luck, Pete, but it's just funny how those of us that are unafraid to talk about God and our relationship with him, we seem to be lucky when I don't think it's got anything to do with luck. And I'd love for you to,
Bless it.
yeah. I mean, that's the thing is, I think when you put God first, I mean, I had a moment last night. Where out of nowhere, I just started talking to him and I felt him. And I was like, this is a long conversation coming. And I know that you needed to hear this from me. And I don't know why I waited, but I'm saying it. And I could just feel his power in me and him going, yeah, keep going, keep saying it. I need you to get there. And the Holy Spirit is strong. God is strong. The Father's strong. The Son is strong. Like, last night, he just said to me, it was like he was sitting there and he was just cheering me on, like, go, keep going. I need it. And it's moments like that where you just, man, we're not lucky, Pete. We're blessed.
Yeah, 100% correct. And that's why they always say, people can predict, and this is another thing that's spoken. Mike's agent said, people go out predict things and say, that this person's going to be put in this round or that round. And he was like, how do they know? They don't know these things because they don't sit in a room with the other 32 teams and they talk about who they want, blah, 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 blah. And then I like his analogy where when I was with the USA team, they always talk about, if you're going to have something, say, you have to say something to back up improvement. So they talked about, he says, people who talk that kind of stuff like that, people are the ones who read People magazine. But he said the ones who, that Wall Street Journal, they tell the facts. You know what I'm saying? So it's just, like I said, a lot of things that people don't understand in what he does to bless him. And so now there's a lot of things that I'm still learning about myself and in the Word, but the stuff that I've learned, the things that have happened to me, and the greatness, the great things that happen all along and all the time. I'll take this over anything else that has been coming my way, hands down, because the blessings that he blesses and he puts upon you, it's just simply amazing. And I watch it all the time because I watch what he does with these young kids, and I watch what they do at the end of the day and what they become. And a lot of kids that I have, I've had the opportunity to work with since they were young or whatever, they've turned out to be amazing people.
Yeah. I mean, I just feel him like, you ready? You better get ready. And I do want to tell you this, Pete. I've been looking for, as you know, a home for CNS for a long time. I have a high school focus that I do with Wake Up Call, and we try to find a restaurant in the community that we can bring a school to every month. And it was hard to find the right fit for CNS. And it took a lot of years. And I've been working with CNS for almost a decade. And tonight we start a new era. Tonight we go to Willow Rock. Tonight we go right around the corner. Tonight we have our inaugural CNS Northstars show at Willow Rock Pizza Pub on 6200 South Bay Road in Cicero. And we're featuring the CNS Northstars girls flag football team. And when you come home over the summer here, we're going to bring Pete Moore and the people you're training and we're going to go to Willow Rock, and we're going to showcase you, and we're going to give you a home with that. But I just want to let you know that we officially tonight are kicking it off. We have a new home for CNS, a real home, a real future of people that care about the community and care about the North Stars. And I'm really looking forward to getting you over there.
Oh, congratulations. I know how much you talk about that all the time. Well, like I said, the blessing. When you least expect it, that's when he puts his hands on you and he says, "Here you go." So that's amazing. That's amazing to hear that's finally have come to. So congratulations on that.
Oh, it's a long time coming. I said, listen. Everyone that knows me knows I spent a lot of years with CNS, and I've spent a lot of time on underneath the water of that iceberg trying to find the right home. So, Pete, you get the final word. You get the final thing. We're going to do a little bit of rapid fire here, but you get to host the last couple minutes of the show. So you can ask me any 2 questions. What do you got for me?
Well, my first question is, what did you think when you saw Mike run that time?
I thought, man, by the time that guy gets one leg in front of the other leg, he was done. I was like, I looked at it and I was like, 1, 2, 3, 4, he's done. And I was that man ran faster than a cheetah, faster than a speeding bullet. I don't know what type of superhero name he's going to take on, but I mean, listen, Mike Washington, I love that kid, and he knows I do. And I've seen him grow. I saw this little kid at CNS standing on the field talking with me, and then I saw the kid that just came to my studio last year with facial hair, looking like an old, big grown man, and all that. Yeah. He walked in, he sat down next to me. I go, "You get bigger every time you come in here, man." So, but I just. Dude, I'm so happy for him. And again, it's like the world saw that moment and shared that moment with Mike, but you and I have these other moments with Mike that it was just us. And yes. I think like that's my favorite part of this whole story is that I'm happy for him and I'm happy for where life is taking him, where God is taking him. Yep. But I'm personally grateful to God that I've been along this path with Mike for a long time. And so to me, I see it different. I see the run different. I'll hear his name called differently. I'll probably cry because he's my guy. And to me, like that's where my heart goes when I see him do anything that's good for him is I'm like, I believed in Mike a long time ago. Nobody was going to take that from me. So, to see him do it is, it's par for the course. I'm happy for him.
Okay. My second question is, where would you like to see him go and get drafted?
Oh, man. Well, let me go through my little, the NFL is something that I could talk about in my sleep. So let me just go to the NFL real quick here since you asked me this question. So I'm going to look at some teams that need a running back, a consistent guy. I don't know what the Jets are going to do with Breece Hall, but I'll look at the Jets. I will look at the Cleveland Browns that need some help in their backfield. I'll look at the Pittsburgh Steelers that could have something going for their future. I'll look at the Tennessee Titans that definitely need some help there. The Kansas City Chiefs for their future. I would say the Chargers have an opening. I'd say the Cowboys have a look there that they have to build toward what's coming in their future. The Washington Commanders, for sure. I would say the Detroit Lions, now that they parted ways with David Montgomery, someone to be there with Jahmyr Gibbs. I would look to the Minnesota Vikings because I don't think they have a true number one. I would look to the New Orleans Saints, who definitely need some help there. I look to the Arizona Cardinals, who have had to go 4 or 5 deep in these last couple seasons. So I would say that more than half of the NFL could use a Mike Washington Jr. And I hope that they're smart enough to take him early, and let's keep making history for Central and Upstate New York. I don't care where he goes, I'm buying a jersey. So, I mean, it doesn't matter to me. And I mean, I if you ask me feet to the fire right now, I'm like the Saints, the Cardinals, something like that. But I don't care where he goes as long as I get a message from him like, are you coming to a game this year? That's all I want from you, Mike. I want you to make sure that I'm there because I want to be there. But I don't care where he goes. I just know more than half the NFL needs him.
Well, that's the blessing. We're going to find out. They were talking about the draft party and everything like that. So he has to go do some other pro work at Arkansas. And then after that, he has to, I think, go to California for, I think they were saying for all the NFL teams. And then after that, be draft night. Then the mini camp, rookie camp, or whatever. So we'll see where he's going to put him. And I know where he puts him at is going to be somewhere where he's going to blossom. So that's what I'm looking forward to. You know what I'm saying? So,
and
that's where I'm at.
And I'm right there with you. And I'll end our conversation on these words from Lou Holtz. May God shine perpetual light on him, and may he live in the house of the Lord forever and be with his family. In the words of Lou Holtz, if you want to be happy for an hour, eat a steak. If you want to be happy for a day, go play golf. If you want to be happy for a week, go take a vacation. But if you want to be happy for a lifetime, put your faith in Jesus Christ. As always, Pete Moore, I love you. Be safe, and I'll talk with you soon.
Thank you.
I'll talk with you soon. Take care. That coming from Pete Moore once again here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City studios. We appreciate you being here always. So we will take our final step aside of the show this morning, and we will wrap things up on Wake Up Call from the Great Lakes Honda City studios right after this.
Avicoli's restaurant, located on 7839 Oswego Road in Liverpool, New York, has been serving our community for decades. Your place to go for home cooking on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road is just minutes from Liverpool High School. And every single month, Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is on site, on location, with Liverpool sports, student athletes, coaches, and administration telling their stories throughout the year. We look forward to seeing you on site at Avicoli's for their casual pizza side, their fine dining, as well as their bar. And of course, you can order online at myavicolis.com. That's myavicollis.com. For takeout, delivery, and catering, call 315-622-5100. That's 315-622-5100. Come on into the neighborhood spot Avicoli's, open 7 days a week in Liverpool, New York. K9 Campground Dog Boarding is your home away from home for your furry-loving friends. Open 7 days a week with drop-off and pickup times in the morning and later on in the day and early evening. K9 Campground Dog Boarding is the spot to trust with your dog for short and long-term stays. Call 315-299-4013 for more information. That's 315-299-4013, and go to k9campground.com as well. That's KAMP ground.com, where you will find all of the information on their different cabins, which include the classic cabin, executive cabin, grand cabin, and luxury cabin. K9 Campground Dog Boarding, where your dog will have indoor and outdoor areas as well as their own private cabin for any size, any breed, as well as dogs with different needs. Dog parents and dogs alike choose K9 Campground Dog Boarding. Isn't that right, Lily? Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes. New York, great cars, great people, Great Lakes. In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville Bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you. Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant.
GG Cards and Breaks. Like, comment, subscribe.
GG Cards and Breaks coming to you on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York is your one-stop sports card and trading card shop. Head over to GG Cards and Breaks today. If you've never collected cards before, now's a perfect time to start. Why? Because it's more than a sports card shop. It's a community of people that care, of people that value everyone that comes through the door, of a place where you can be yourself. You can be a big kid. You can have that positive spirit. You can walk in there at 80 years old and smile and have fun opening a pack of cards. Or you can walk in there at 5 years old and open your first pack of cards. I got to celebrate the first ever trip to a sports card and trading card shop with my godson Noah. That was one of the most favorite moments of my life. And that all came from GG Cards and Breaks. And I went in there just to do something for him. And what happened? Josh Gideon, he takes the time, owner and operator of GG Cards and Breaks. He's like, no, we're going to do this. We're going to do this. He gives them special gifts. He sits down with them, and Red comes over. Red gives something to my godson. It's just a different place. It's a different atmosphere. It's a place where people go above and beyond. And in a world where customer service feels few and far between nowadays, GG Cards and Breaks is a place where it's timeless. So make sure you head over there today. You know why. There's a lot of reasons. Go find out. 639 Delmar Place. Tuesday through Saturday, they're open 10 to 6. Sundays, 10 to 5. Big time shout out to Chick-fil-A in DeWitt. Why? They're the biggest Chick-fil-A I've ever seen in my life. I've been all over the country. I've been in the South to many a place. And Chick-fil-A, when it finally traveled up north to central New York, you see what it's become here in our community. And this is the largest Chick-fil-A I've seen in any state. The giant brick building, double drive-through. Hop in there and experience what it's like to have guest service from Megan Sorber and her team. Chick-fil-A in DeWitt, corner of Bridge Street and Erie Boulevard. There's a light there that had to be placed there because the amount of traffic that was anticipated you would create there by going there for lunch right now or dinner, Monday through Saturday. You know where to be. And of course, you can go there for breakfast. Hop in early in the morning and get yourself. That was one of the first things I ever had from Chick-fil-A was breakfast. So get over there for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Chick-fil-A, corner of Bridge Street and Erie Boulevard. And next week, I get to announce a new menu item, and I am anxiously anticipating the opportunity to bring that to you. Head over there to Chick-fil-A in DeWitt today. Let them know that DT sent you. We appreciate it. With that being said, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, I can't believe the show's over already today, and we went over again. It's 11:20. I feel like it's 9:10. That's how much fun these count. Papa Joe felt like he was here for 5 minutes. Pete felt like he was here for 6 minutes. And here we are. We're 2 hours plus over. That's the beauty of doing what you love and loving what you do. Because God is great and he never makes mistakes. YouTube.com and Facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT. I'm so blessed to be here. And, of course, on wakeupcalldt.podbean.com. I want to thank Podbean for welcoming my show to their family, all my shows to their family, so many years ago when people were like, what's podcasting? It'll never work. The internet's going to fail. Nobody would leave traditional media. And when I did it, it was considered stupid, crazy, wild. When is Dan going to come back? When is he going to figure it out? When is he going to get his brain together and return back to this, that, and the third? Well, now everybody's got a podcast and everybody thinks they're a broadcaster. Ain't it funny how you do something that's totally off the wall crazy that'll never work, and then a few years later everybody's doing it and it's normal? How many times has that happened? How many times did people tell Thomas Edison that you can't make light yourself? How many people said the earth was flat? Right? They told Walt Disney that an amusement park would never work year-round. And I was told that going off and doing this by myself, that I was nuts, that I was a nobody. Well, God is great all the time. And he was sending me to a place I didn't even know I was supposed to be. But I thank him for it. Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, Player FM, Podbean, Podvine, Spotify, TuneIn, YouTube, Podchaser.com, and more. All you have to do is search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on any one of these podcasting platforms or YouTube, or you can just search me on Google or Safari or Mozilla Firefox or whatever search engine you use, or you can ask Alexa or Google Home to play the latest episode of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. We're everywhere. Again, this is all God. I didn't know any of this stuff was going to happen. I didn't know how to do any of this stuff. All I knew was that I had a dream and a vision and a passion and a desire. And I looked at God and I said, please just, let's do this. I didn't even have to ask him to do it together. It was just like, God, I love you and this is what I want to do. And if you let me do it, I'm going to give everything I possibly can to it. And he responded by making this my life, my everyday. And I can't thank him enough for that. People say, why do you mention God so much? Why the heck wouldn't I? Well, give yourself some credit. Hey, I'm just the vessel. I'm here to do his work. And thanks to him, we're in so many different places, it's hard to miss us. You could trip over and find Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. And that's all because of him. Big time thanks to our community of supporters. We appreciate all of you watching and listening that support our Central and Upstate New York partners. Great Lakes, Honda City, Carvel, DeWitt, Mon Paz, the snack capital of the world. You want to wake up your taste buds, you go to Mon Paz, 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. The Wildcat Sports Pub, GG Cards and Breaks, Brian's Landing, Canine Campground Dog Boarding, as well as Pizza Man, Chick-fil-A Cicero, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Myers Creek with 2 locations on 33 Rippleton Road in Cazenovia, as well as on 720 Van Rensselaer Street in Syracuse and the Syracuse Inner Harbor. Willow Rock Pizza Pub, where we're going to be tonight for the first time ever. You do not want to... We're making history tonight. It's our inaugural broadcast of Wake Up Call with CNS at Willow Rock. So you have nowhere else that you need to be tonight, except for here on Thursday, March 5th at 5:30 p.m., dinner time, to go have some dinner and enjoy a show with the CNS girls flag football team. Wake Up Call is going to be live at Willow Rock. We'll see you at 6200 South Bay Road in Cicero, New York. Game Point Sports Complex, Avicoli's, Chick-fil-A in DeWitt, Mother's Cupboard, and of course, we are the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your Binghamton University Bearcats. It is Bearcat time every single Tuesday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time worldwide, with student athletes, coaches, administration, and alumni joining the broadcast to tell their stories and the greater story of Binghamton University. You don't want to miss a moment of it. We just had the president on to kick off year 3 in our partnership with Binghamton University. We had not 1 but 2 specials. We promised you 1, we gave you 2, because why not under promise, over deliver, and start off year 3 by giving you a bonus here. We had the president of Binghamton University, Ann DeLeva, and we also had Mikey Squires, who's going out this weekend to Washington, D.C. with his teammates of Binghamton Wrestling to make some history in the EIWAs and then hopefully advance to the NCAAs. Can't wait for that. You can find all of our content with Binghamton by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and find our Binghamton playlist. The Bearcats are also on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to binghamtonbearcats.com and go Bearcats. With that being said, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, many thanks to Papa Joe for talking basketball, the World Baseball Classic, Major League Baseball Spring Training, and so much more. Thank you to his kind words about our partnership with Willow Rock. Thanks to Pete Moore with talking about student athletes while traveling with those student athletes to support them, living his everyday while he was on the air with us today. So truly being someone who says who they are and actually carries it out. Shout out to Pete Moore and for his time he spent at Lucas Oil Stadium at the NFL Combine with Mike Washington Jr., who he has trained and been with for years, and seeing that CNS star rise to the occasion and have the highest, the best, the number 1 40-yard dash time of all running backs at the NFL Combine, and the 6th best time amongst running backs in NFL Combine history. Thanks to Pete Moore for sharing his story, sharing his relationship with Mike Washington Jr., talking about Bree, Miss Bree Stewart, and all the work that she's done, and about the student athletes to come at CNS and in Central and Upstate New York. I cannot thank Papa Joe and Pete Moore enough for being a blessing and a shining light in my life. And speaking of light, once again, may the perpetual light shine forever on Lou Holtz. And may his family have the light of God with them always, and may God guide and guard all of us, including everyone whose life was touched by Lou Holtz in some way, shape, or form. May he continue to be alive in heaven and in spirit with us, and may God keep us all together, even in death, because dying, Jesus destroyed our death, and rising, he restored our life. In Jesus' most precious name, we pray, in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, X at Call DT, Instagram at Wake Up Call _DT. I will never praise anything other than the Lord. God bless you all. Have a wonderful day. And as we always say inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, God bless, no stress. Do your best. Take care. Talk soon.